All righty. The next speaker that is coming up is very special to me. I've known her a very long time. And because she's not probably going to tell you about this, I'm going to. But I met Valerie Waters through Jennifer Gardner, who was, Valerie was training Jennifer for Alias back in the day. And Jennifer had given, she's very generous, and Valerie and I will both tell you, you cannot get a more amazing celebrity than Jennifer Gardner. If you only knew the things this woman does, is unbelievable. She's extraordinarily generous with her people, and she'd given Valerie a gift certificate to come see me. And this must be 20 years ago. Valerie is, an unbelievable in how she can talk about take something or somebody and fine-tune and create the perfect body. It is insane. But this woman knows above and beyond her craft. She is extraordinary. And I am so happy to introduce Valerie Waters to you to learn a lot of her stuff. It's so great. So please welcome Valerie to the stage.
Hi, I'm Valerie. How you feeling? Good, good. Okay, so I'm a personal trainer, and what I thought I really wanted to talk to you about, I'm going to show you some of my training methods for your own personal use, but as someone in the wellness profession, I thought that I could help the most by helping you understand how to take care of yourself while you're building your business. I think it's true for most of us in the wellness community, especially when you're very, very hands-on, whether you're an esthetician or a trainer. I'm very touch, feel, like appropriately, of course, but I need to put my hands on people. And when you do that, especially in the beginning, and you're building the business and your clients are seeing results and you're getting the feedback and the love from them, it is wonderful. It is life-changing, and it's hard. It's hard because if you're the person that deeply cares about your clients and their results, it is normal for them to share their vulnerabilities because they're in a very safe space. So with me, they're sharing how they feel about their body. With you, they might be feeling how they're feeling about their skin, or even just, there's chit chat. It could just be the stress in their life. And when you're hands-on, when you're that close and you're empathetic, it's easy to take that energy on. And in the beginning of my career, I would do that, and I thought of that as my gift. And I still do, that I can really move someone's energy. However, as you start to get clients and the word spreads and it's exciting and it feels good because you're doing what you love, it is possible that you put them before yourself. And while it's really important that you have time to, as Nirda was saying, to make your space 5-star and set everything up and take care of the clients perfectly, if you go down, you can't help them as much. And you can cover it up for a little while. Coffee, Diet Cokes, whatever. You keep your energy on, you put the smile on your face, go, 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 go. And then you go home and you can't get off the couch, or you want to cry, or you just aren't participating in the other things that bring you joy because you're tired. And that is normal, but it's not necessary. And it took me a long time to develop some techniques for my own self-care. And it changed my life. when you're just happier, when you feel good, right? So what I really want to say is, first of all, you are worthy of your own self-care. It is essential that it is a priority, a big part of your life. Now, that doesn't mean it has to be all-consuming. You know, you don't need to be sending yourself to a spa all the time or hours with a personal trainer, but you do need to do some fundamental things to recharge your nervous system. A nervous system that is unregulated doesn't feel good, and clients can also feel it. So you want to kind of have a calm, happy nervous system. And when you do, by the way, you just feel happier. And it is a great thing to just have joy in your own life. So I'm going to give you some techniques of how I do that. Then I thought I would show you just some of my fun little home exercises. And then I'm going to leave a little time at the end so that if you have any questions for me, we have a mic set up. Because sometimes, even if you read all the blog posts and everything on the internet and follow all the exercise people on Instagram, just like your clients want to know how you can help with their skin, even though they can also go read about skin, they want the expert to say, what about me? So if you have any questions, fitness or otherwise, you just want to say, well, what about me? What do? I am happy to answer those questions. So I'll do that at the end. So first I thought I would talk about a little bit how I do my own self-care or regulate my nervous system. And having been in the fitness industry for more than 30 years, it took a long time for me to learn it. We didn't know everything that we know now, even, and it wasn't as readily accessible, and people couldn't reach me on my phone. I couldn't text back. I had a pager. I was on call. And so I just always lived like ready to serve my clients. But that just kept me in this sort of frenetic state. And I would periodically just drop off for a couple weeks at a time just to heal. And I got better over the years, but strangely, the pandemic is what really opened my eyes, because I had just bought a house at the beginning of the pandemic and closed the doors, and it didn't open again for a year and a half, and I had never stopped. And when I did, I went, oh, my goodness, this is what it feels like to have a calm nervous system. And I have maintained that since, and I'm going to tell you how. So anyway, first of all, obviously, exercise is very important. It's important for you to feel good, look good, and do all the things that you want to do later in life. So you know, I still go surfing. I still work out all the time. I can't run anymore, but I can hike and I can walk, and all of this I believe, even with herniated discs and other things, because I've been lifting weights for 40-something years. So you need a regular, consistent exercise practice. It doesn't have to be lifting weights, although I find that's the most efficient, but it can be what you love: Pilates, yoga, not just cardio. You need some strength-bearing exercises. And when you exercise regularly, you just feel better. So I have workouts. I do know how to change somebody's body very quickly, 6 weeks or less. But I also know that consistency is the number one thing that keeps people feeling good and looking good. So whether it's 2 times a week or 6 times a week. I have a client that I started during the pandemic. I only see him 2 times a week. I've never even met him in person. I only trained him on Zoom. He only exercises 2 times a week, and he has dramatically changed his body in 2 years just by being consistent strength training. So it's not all-encompassing. But so that's number 1, exercise, and I think, you know, that's obviously a pretty obvious thing that you're going to hear from me. But number 2, in terms of regulating the nervous system, you need things that give you joy and calm. So my first thing that I do, I have many things, but number one, get in nature. Even if you don't live near the beach or the mountains or whatever, get to a park, just get outside. Being in nature without your phone, ideally, is very, very healing. Number two, and you could actually do this one in nature, I call it my happiness walks. Now, it's just a walk, but it's a walk with intention. So this is actually how I do my meditation. I go for a walk with the intent of finding things that bring me joy. And so I may start, it might even be a gloomy day. In the winter, there's no flowers, or, I could, if I was not doing a happiness walk, be walking and being like, oh, the sun's not shining, people haven't cleaned up after their doggies, this is just a terrible place. Or you walk and you go, oh, look at that beautiful flower. Oh, look, I hear the birds chirping. Or, oh, I feel some sunshine. And so my rules with my happiness walks, you can see it, feel it, hear it, smell it, right? And it's very intentional. If you seek it, you will find it. So if you're walking, and maybe you're looking at your phone and you're thinking about, I've got to call this person back, or you're grumbling about some complaint you heard or something in the news, you're not going to feel much. You'll feel a little better just having walked. But you will not feel the same as if you intentionally seek joy. And it can be little, but I literally can just look around and I was like, oh, cheesecake. I don't even need to eat it, but I haven't seen that in a long time. Joy. I went in the pool this morning, 5 minutes, but it was so joyful. I looked around and I saw some beautiful trees and I just took in the sunshine and all those things. Now, I could be here and not notice anything other than just like, get ready, get up, give your time. But I go outside and I make a very deliberate intention of finding joy. And then I do, and guess what? I feel more joyful. So I do my workouts, because you're one workout away from a good mood, always. I do my happiness walks, and then I do some sort of meditation, breath work, something like that. I happen to be more into breath work at the moment, but anything that can kind of get you to focus, breathe, and let go of the monkey mind. And then the other thing I love is hot or cold. So I have a sauna blanket I love. I take advantage of the steam room at the gym. I jumped in the jacuzzi here, then jumped into the pool after. And again, these things, you may not always have those things available, but it's not, you don't need hours. A few minutes that you claim to yourself, and if you can't do the sauna or the ice bath or whatever right now, then the other thing I would do is just journal your gratitude list. And a few years back, I went through some really difficult times. I had some health challenges. I had some other things going on. And I dived deep into my gratitude practice, and it contributed greatly to pulling me out of a deep depression that I was in. And I still do it. That's, I think, why I started my happiness walks, because I want joy and gratitude in my life. And I have less, I just don't overreact anymore. I live in LA, you get stuck in traffic, people aren't always polite, the lines at the supermarket, people are cutting you off, whatever. I used to grumble about those things, and it's hard to explain that how just letting some of that go just makes you feel better because you're calmer. So I may take action if I see something that I don't agree with or what have you, but I'm not overreacting like I used to. So now I can show up for my clients just calm, happy. I leave a little more space in my schedule than I used to. I don't run as back to back. I give myself more time for my self-care, my meal prep. And it just has allowed me to be, a better trainer. So, as you start to build your business, just recognize that as exciting and fun as it is, and it truly is, if you're doing what you love, you just also need to make time for yourself. So, I have a little tickle. Excuse me. So anyway, now I'm going to show you, I'll save questions for the end. I'm going to show you some of my favorite exercise routines that if you don't have a lot of space, or you do, but I travel, that's my, that little pile is my travel kit. Now I have already checked out the gym here. It's actually quite lovely, and so I'll probably be working out in the gym later, but often I'll end up and I won't love the gym, and so I make sure that I have something that I could do in my hotel room, which fits in my purse. And often when I train clients, if I have to go to the movie set or whatever, and if there's nothing set up available to us, we can work out in the trailer, which is basically that amount of space right there. So what I do, I am big on body weight. I am very, now that I'm probably older than most of you, I do a lot of mobility work. So not just stretching, but stretching through motion. And I find that that has helped me greatly with just overuse injuries that I have. But once I've done my mobility work, my stretching, my 90-90, all these other things, you can ask questions about that later, I go right into my strength training workout. I almost always start with a booty band. You probably have seen these all over the internet or Instagram or whatever. We used to all use mini bands, and these are still great, and they're like $5, so they're great. They're just not as comfortable as the booty band. And the booty band, some people will call them hip circles or whatever, it's just a fabric stretchy band. And the reason you typically use booty bands, there's many other reasons, but usually, I might need to, the hardest part is putting it on. It's to work your glutes, obviously, your booty, but it's almost always the exercise I start with because it activates your glutes. So typically, I'm gonna do like 4 things that are almost always in the beginning of the routine. So you get low, and you just go steps that way. The key is lead with your knee. Don't let that toe turn out. We go like that, and then we just go back. And we'll typically I have my clients do 15 to 20, and then maybe they go again. Then we tap to the back, tap to the back, and already my glutes are on fire. Then I go into a set of body weight squats. And the reason trainers use this is most people, when they do squats, they want their knees cave in a little bit, and then they don't feel it in their butt at all. So it's really, you can cue them, push your knees against the band, and it helps you, it just cleans up your squat almost immediately, and then you feel it in your glute, because that's what we want to do. We don't want to just always be building our quads. So there's a whole variety of things, and if you messaged me on Instagram, I'd be happy to help you with all kinds of exercises. The next thing I do, this is a Val slide. I'm Val. So I created this product 20 years ago, almost 20 years ago. Prior to this, nobody was doing slide training unless they had an 8-foot slide board. So this was my answer to not having to drive the 8-foot slide board around in my car. But it is amazing for your glutes, inner thigh, core. I'm just going to show you a couple things really quick. I'll move on to other things that you might want to ask me. But, ooh, there's that. Okay, so I'm going to show you, this is a Val side reverse lunge. My foot is in the middle. I am working the stationary leg. So foot is under the right leg. I'm actually working the left leg. The right leg goes along for the ride. So I just slide back, stand up through my heel, and use my glute to lift me up. I'm very light on this leg. So it's just down and up. So it feels It's a very sneaky exercise. It feels easier than a reverse lunge, which you certainly could just do a reverse lunge. But the sliding motion makes it feel easier, but you're working your glute harder. So it's very, very sneaky. You'll end up feeling your booty way more the next day if you do. And I usually have my clients start with something for a little bit of balance, because this is very slippery, which is the beauty of it. Okay, then if you want to work your inner thigh and also the glute over here, the outside side lunge, just slide that out to the side and stand right up, just like that. And it's, again, it feels easy, or not easy because you might wobble in the beginning. It feels easier than a regular side lunge, but you're working your muscles harder. So a little here, so that's almost in all circles. Then, what is going on? My goodness. Then the real magic, not the real magic because lunges are amazing, most sports teams use valve slides for their core. So you put your feet in the middle. If your feet are too far forward, they act as a brake. So my feet are in the middle. I'm going to come down to a high plank, and I'll just show you a couple that I do in the high plank. So here we are. So maybe we go mountain climbers. And this is great for a group because you can control your range of motion. So maybe someone goes slower. You can go knee tuck, very hard. And then the hardest is a pike. You can come down here. You can go body saw. Again, you control your range of motion. So even if you're just beginning, you just go little, and then you go bigger. And then upside down snow angel. And those are just a few of the hundreds of exercises you can do. So anyway, so those couple things, and then ideally a stretchy band with handles, which I didn't bring, to do some upper body. And you have your whole gym with you, and you really can do an amazing workout in 20 to 30 minutes. So I know we don't all have an hour to go to the gym, and that's okay. Just be consistent. Make sure you have strength training exercises in your routine, and do your happiness walks, because it'll really make you feel better. Do you want to ask, should we do some questions now? I think that's about all I have to talk about. I could talk forever, but let's ask some questions if anybody has one. Anybody? Yes? Come to the mic, please.
If you guys have any questions, queue up.
I got a little bit of light in my eyes, so I want to make sure I see you.
So you said 20 minutes, so what would a 20-minute workout would be? Like, would you split it, or would you
So it depends on how many days you want to work out. If you have 4 available and you want to keep your workout short, I would probably do a split routine. I like to do a little bit of legs each time to get my heart rate up, but I would probably go leg, shoulder, bicep one day, and then chest, back, tricep the next. And the leg workout would be kind of like a booty band, valve side reverse lunge, valve side lunge. I would do some step ups. I love using a step, like I would just stand down there and step up on here. Then I would go into, I use very light weights on my shoulder press. For most of my, many of my clients have shoulder restrictions, so you want to make sure, this is very important, if you are going to do a shoulder press, let's say with 5 or 10 pounds, you want to make sure that your arms go straight over your head. If you cannot, because some people are very tight from being at the computer or even any like forward working. So if you don't have mobility to put your arms over your head, don't lift heavy weights there. Don't put strength on dysfunction.
what are good exercises for us, since we're always looking down on people for our
So
neck?
that is like my favorite stuff to work, because almost everyone has that problem, whether it's your line of work or students or my writers. I have them do a row. So there's lots of ways you want to work the middle of your back, and you want to do that often. You can do this at home with a pair of dumbbells. You can do bent over row, But if someone is also have any issues in the low back, I prefer to do bandit rows, where you can take a stretchy band that has handles on it, loop it around something in front of you, palms down, row to thumbs up. The key will be make sure your shoulders stay down and you don't do that. And you want to think, lift your chest slightly, because I see a lot of people do this. So it keeps this rounded and they're not getting the work here. You just want to think, lift your sternum or push your chest out. So when you row, you just open up and you squeeze those shoulder blades. And I would absolutely, everybody should be doing rows. So anyway, yes. Anybody else?
Yeah, I have a question.
Hi.
So I love working out. I have for years. However, as I've gotten older, because I'm in my mid-40s now,
Yep.
I did have a surgery where they took out my one ovarian tube. I'm finding it a lot more, I guess, slow in progress. Like I'm not getting the progress like I did when I was 30. So what kind of advice can you give for people like me?
Okay, and you think, and when you say your progress is slow, is the goal building muscle or is the goal losing weight? Or both?
I mean, it's both. It is like I would love to get the weight off, but I'm much more about the health part of it and the strength and building muscle mass and bone mass.
And so you're feeling like you're not building as much muscle mass as you did,
It
which
just
is
seems like
normal
it's
when you don't
taking-
have as the same hormones.
Yeah.
So here's what I would say about that. A, keep going. Okay, nothing is like when we were in our 20s. It's just, I used to not eat dinner one night and I'd have a flat belly the next day. I'm a long way from that. The strength training does work. You might want to lift a little heavier and have a little bit more recovery in between, and then be a little bit tighter on your diet. But here's the thing. We can only play the cards we have, right? Like, I'm 60. I have a herniated disc, bursitis in my hips. I can't wish I'm 25 and didn't, it's like, was it easier then? Yes. But I can still work out a lot. If I tightened up my diet a little bit more, I would lose a few pounds for sure. Not as fast as before, but consistency is your friend. And just remember, you can play the heck out of the cards that you have, right? So yes, it might mean your friend can eat the cheesecake and you cannot. I can't, right? I came in last night and the only thing I could get was a little piece of pizza and I ate it and that's fine. And, I don't want to do that again because it makes my hands puffy immediately. But you just keep going. And I promise you can work around all of those things. And then if you still feel like nothing's working, you talk to your doctor and you get your, see if there's any medical things that you can do. I support that completely. But first, you have to make sure that you're taking care of that. And by the way, I know with my clients, if they're doing everything right, strength training, happiness walks, eating clean, often, when I dig in a little bit, I find the missing link is they're not getting enough consistent sleep. And that really affects things. So if you think that you're doing everything else, but you're staying up to 1 o'clock in the morning, or your sleep pattern is all over the place, regular bedtime, regular wake-up time makes a big difference.
Like the same every day? Like
Yeah, it's a set
Okay.
bedtime,
And set
wake-up time. And then and the new studies are now showing if first thing in the morning, if you could just get a little tiny bit of sun with sunscreen, Merida. But you want a little sun in your eyes to set your circadian rhythm. So like I grab my coffee, I let my doggies out, I just turn my face towards the sun for 2 minutes, and then I go back inside. And I think it helps.
Yeah, I've been doing that, and I started grounding. So I go out early morning sun, barefoot, trying to get that.
So you're on your way. Good job. Is it possible to turn those lights off, or I just can't, or come closer because it's just hard to see. Yeah, Oh, there we go. Oh, there, thank you.
So my name is Ashley, and I've been in my fitness journey for about like a year doing strength training.
Yep, I can tell. Good job.
And about like halfway through, I started to like track my macros.
Uh-huh.
But I started to notice that it was reflecting on my skin a lot.
Yep.
Like I was breaking out on my cheeks. And so now I'm like thinking about how I'm gonna switch up like my meals. And I'm finding it hard because I'm trying to hit my protein and like my carbs and everything. But what I eat is like meats and like yogurt because those are really high in protein.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I've been struggling with. But I don't know if you've had any clients similar like that where they're trying to hit their macros.
I mean, yeah, like everybody has to take time to figure out, just like what Nerida was saying about the products for this, not everything works for one person and not diet works for one person. And my first thought is check the yogurt. Dairy does not work for every person. And you just sort of have to do an elimination, like what can you take out? You're pretty safe if you're eating protein and vegetables, but if the protein is only eggs, cheese, yogurt, those are three very allergic things. And if you have, like many of my clients can't eat any dairy, not one bite. I can eat dairy, like, you know, it doesn't affect me. I can eat red meat, I can eat fish. So you sort of have to be a little detective. And this is, you know, how you were tracking your macros, which is fantastic. But just turn it into a more like full food journal. And then with notes, here's how my skin looked, here, you know, I got bloated after, like, you just have to get the information, like a little detective, and then you're gonna have to start pulling foods out. And then you'll end up with the ones that work best, even if it's different than what's currently being, you know, like keto does not work for everyone. Being a vegetarian doesn't work for everyone, you know, so you find your way, but I can tell you're already on a really good start. So yeah. I would just, you know, keep going.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi there.
Hi.
How often do you recommend women over the age of 40 lift weights? And
wait, can you bring the microphone a little closer?
how often do you recommend women over the age of 40 lift weights? And do you have recommendations besides like the regular, like dumbbells and push-ups? And do you have any other ideas besides the?
Okay, so a couple questions.
Yeah.
What are you doing now for your
I
exercise?
just lift like the free weights
Okay. Are you working out at home or in a gym?
at the gym.
Okay. In a gym, you have access to all kinds of things. Like, while I can work out with just this, I love to go to the gym. And I use the lat pull and the leg press and I use the dumbbells and all of that. Over 40, you do need to lift more weights. And you need a little bit more recovery than the 25-year-old self, but you can probably go a little heavier. It is a little harder to build muscle. So when I was training the young actresses, they did worry about getting too bulky because it was about a certain kind of role and what have you. Don't worry about that so much now. Focus on getting stronger, and it will change the shape of your body. It will support your bones and protect you later on. It feels good to be strong. And we forget that we need strength just for the things we do in our life. Like, I don't think about picking up the big, case of water bottles or whatever. I have to be careful of my back, but it's like, still at my age, I'm stronger than most people. And it allows me, I'm not trying to go bench press the heaviest, but I want to just be able to I have a very heavy suitcase that I just brought. It's like, I don't need someone to help me with it. I got it, right? And so keep going with the heavier weights, but if you're in a gym, especially most gyms will give you a free training session or whatever, what you have to learn is just really the settings of the machine. You just want to make sure that, like if you're using a lat pull, you can adjust where your legs are. And once you know those few things, how to set the machine so it's in the right place, then you're gonna, when you're doing the exercise, you're gonna connect to the muscle. If it's not set right, you kind of don't really know what you're feeling. It's like, I'll pull here, I'll push here, I'm not really sure. But it's fun to work machines in and not just do dumbbells when you have the opportunity, because it just mixes it up. So that's what I would say.
Thank you.
And 4 to 6 days a week.
Hi, Valerie.
Hi.
Okay, so my question is, I'm getting close to a decade of working on clients hands-on.
Yeah.
And I'm noticing full days now take the energy out of my hands and my arms.
Yep.
Any recommendations to keeping your hands and your arms strong, even though you use them, not even for working out, but also at work?
Yes. So, are you lifting weights?
Yes.
Okay. You probably need, so I have a little, I don't have arthritis, but I have a lot of inflammation. And so I have to do feet and hand things all the time. And for my feet, I usually roll out on a lacrosse ball or something like that. For my hands, like let's say I'm at the gym, I'm going to do my workout, or even at home, I just use a tabletop or a counter. Let me just jump down here. And let me come up. You don't have to look at my bottom. Anyway, I put my hands down, and then I just rock it. Oh, and you can even do this, by the way, get in a plank. And this is my warm-up, by the way. So I'm in a plank. I do this. And I really I spread my fingers, and I work it in all different range, and then I push back, down dog, give it a little break, back to high plank. And this, by the way, because I just got off the plane last night, I haven't done my workout yet, that hurts me right now. And then I will turn my hands around, and I just breathe into it. And I have to do this every day, because I also, so I'm not hands-on the way that you are, but I'm very hands-on clients, and I'm handing them weights all day. So my forearms get very fatigued. So I just have to come down and stretch them. And I'll do this just like, I'm watching the news or whatever. Just like dee-dee-dee, or I give myself a little time to look at Instagram reels. It's like doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo, and I just hang out there. Because you kind of just got to give it a little time, because it's hard to undo 8 hours in 30 seconds. So just, multiple times a day, just give these hands, fingers, forearms a little stretch, and it does help. But it has to be consistent. So, anyway.
So one more question.
Yeah.
When it comes to working out, is it keeping, working out the same time of day, is that more important, or is just being consistent?
Just being consistent days per week.
Okay.
However, the other thing is, many of us have read Atomic Habits, or it's something about habits. The advantage of working out at the same time, it doesn't affect the workout so much, is that you don't want to be thinking all day, when am I going to get my workout in? Is it going to be noon? Is it going to be 4? Is it going to be after work? Whatever. If you kind of have a regular time, just like any other regular time appointment, then now you're not thinking about that all the time. You just show up, 7 a.m., done. So the more regular it can be, the better for your brain, and not have all those open loops. We want fewer, it's like, I don't know about you, but on my computer, you will see many tabs open, because I don't know how to save things properly, and then my computer shuts down. Well, the same thing, if you have all these open loops in your brain just gets friggin' tired. So close some of those tabs by just having regular scheduled appointments, so that you're not then wondering about it.
Got it. Thank you.
Hey.
Hello. I was curious about the process of you creating your Val slides, because I've used strength slides, but to know that you kind of came up with them so long ago is quite impressive. So I was just curious about the process for you. And
it's funny, because it's quite hard to bring a product to market, And at that time, again, all the slides that you see on the market came after Valslide, right? So first, I had the 8-foot slide board that I saw at a trade show, a fitness trade show, and I bought that, and it was great, and I would put it in my, Toyota Trooper or whatever it was I had at the time, and drive to my clients and unload it. And I learned that it speeded up my results, not because I was having them slide back and forth, but I would have my girls be doing sliding reverse lunges, and it was amazing. Then that was cumbersome, so then I bought the Reebok roll-up one, but that never laid flat. And then at this time, some people were doing things like with paper plates and stuff like that. But as a professional, that didn't feel right to me. And so anyway, I had this idea to make like a portable slide board, and I remember my dad was retired at the time, and I was like, Dad, I want to make this thing. It wasn't called the Valslide yet because I didn't know, but it kind of looks like this, made out of plastic. It's got to have foam on top. I don't know how. And so anyway, and then my dad, just being dad, started sending me little pieces of plastic and foam in the mail, like, little swatches. And then he called me one time, and he says, he lived in San Diego, there's a plastic manufacturer down here. Why don't you come down and have dinner with your dad, and we'll go, meet him. And so we went to this manufacturer, and I said, yeah, I want to do this thing, and it kind of looked like this, and I need like an oval. And he just sat with me, and we sketched it, and he says, well, it can't just be an oval, because then that will look like a furniture mover, and how about this, and we can make this, get micro, how do you say it? Special foam that's like antibacterial or whatever, and then you can do this to make it comfortable. And he said, the process is you make a mold, and then you go from there. And so my dad's like, okay, I'll loan you $2,000 and you can get this mold made. And I had no idea what was going to happen. And I made it. I got my samples, and I happened because of who I train. And I also always continued my education, which is, by the way, you guys you have no idea how far groups take you. You never know who you're going to meet. But I used to go to these trainer conferences, and some of the big names in the fitness, I don't know if you guys would know them, but like a Michael Boyle and Mark Versagen, these people were my friends. And I literally, it was gray at the time, but I had a Valslide in my purse. And I'd be like, I want to show you something. And I went like that, but it kind of slid. I was like, I invented it. And they're like, oh my God, I can't believe we did. Like, I didn't even have to put my foot on it. And they saw it. And then they trained professional athletes. And I was training Jennifer Garner and Jessica Biel and a few other girls at the time who were doing like action-y movies. So I got to test it, and it really worked. And then, but no magazine would write about it because they're like, we can't write about something that nobody has. I was like, well, nobody has it because they don't know about it. And they're like, but if it's not in the gym, I said, well, it's not going to be in the gym until somebody knows. So I think now with social media, and you can get people to take pictures, it might be a little easier. But if you want to bring a product to market, you just got to believe in it, have faith, roll the dice, and see if it happens, and then, work your butt off. So, anyway.
Very cool. Thank you. Congratulations to you.
Yeah, thank you. Yay. Oh. Hi.
Hi. So I have a question. I used to run a lot. I've done like triathlons and marathons,
Yeah.
and so I'm having a lot of joint pain.
Yes.
So, and I suffer carpal tunnel because I use my hands all day.
Yep.
So any advice on that?
So me too. I didn't do triathlons, but I used to run. This is why I learned to like get a little self-care. In the beginning, I would run with all of my clients. So they couldn't run very far, very fast, but you run 2 miles with 6 to 8 people a day. Yeah. You come home and you're a little sick. That's why I can't run anymore. I have bursitis, I have inflammation. Yeah. Again, this goes back to playing the cards you have. I have to manage it. I manage it watching my sugar, my caffeine, and my white flour intakes, those are triggers for me, even though I went off the deep end last night and ate the pizza, whatever. I then also regularly, I'll just go to like those little foot massage places, and I'll just, if I can't treat myself to a full body massage, I just get things, because sometimes my feet just hurt so badly. I do have, I'm sorry that I'm not facing, I'm trying to hear, anyway. I use my sauna blanket, so it's a higher dose sauna blanket, but getting heat and ice. So like, if you brought your bathing suit, jacuzzi here.
Yeah, heat helps. I've noticed, and so, I have sciatic.
Yeah.
Because I was in the Army, and I have sciatic. Started off with one side, but now it's weird. It will change. I'll have it on the right side. So I went to a physical therapist. They gave me some moves. So I was actually wondering yes.
Physical therapists use valve slides all the time.
Okay, so I was wondering if that would actually help. Maybe. Well, it probably strengthens, obviously.
It would, but if you have sciatica, first, proper diagnosis, and make sure that you have doctor's approval or whatever. But I have so I don't have sciatica, but I have two herniated discs.
I do too.
And I have to manage them, right?
Yeah.
And my doctor said in the beginning when I couldn't even walk, I was like, I have to have surgery. He's like, you're not a candidate for surgery. He's like, how is that possible? I'm in so much pain. He said, Valerie, people with herniated discs walk around pain-free all the time. And I had to do my physical therapy, and now I have to manage it. And I use my valve slides because I can control my range of motion. So like if I'm doing a reverse lunge, I actually will hold on to something, and I might just do, like when I'm in flare-up, I just do a little and I get my glutes working again.
Okay.
But when you're in flare-up is not the time to start.
To do it, yes, because it flares it up more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I don't want to, are we, hi?
Hi, Valerie. I have two questions, if
Okay.
that's okay. My first question is, what do you recommend for someone like me that has scoliosis and has lower back pain? Like, what kind of exercises are safe for that?
If you have scoliosis, even though I love weight training, I'm totally pro weight training, I would start with Pilates and develop your core strength first really well, because sometimes when you have scoliosis, some people haven't learned to engage their deep abdominal muscles well, because you kind of have like a little bit of imbalance. You work to develop that first, and Pilates is just great. Yoga, I think, can be too aggressive sometimes. Pilates, they're so controlled. Once you develop that core strength, then you can kind of move on to, I don't think you have to go heavy weight training, but you can do weight training or whatever, but I would really start with Pilates to develop a strong core and foundation, and then you can do almost anything you want after that.
Perfect. And then my second question is, how do you keep a good posture as an esthetician that's always hunched over?
So you have to work those back muscles. So again, I forgot my stretchy band, but like I was saying to someone else with the 2-arm row, so I like a banded row, palms down, row to thumbs up, stretchy band. But I also, the TheraBands, everybody has TheraBands. You could keep a TheraBand at work. So a lot of my clients who are writers have the same issue. We do band pull apart. So I do this, not a heavy band, but you grab it like that, and you just want to do that, and then I go palms down. And then I take the band, and I go all the way over, all the way back, and that just feels so good. I would keep it with you, like when you have a break. Just do a little bit, and it will help.
Thank you.
Okay?
For weightless strength and toning, what workout do you recommend? If you recommend it based on body type.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Like, do you recommend a specific workout for lengthening strength, weightless, and toning based on specific body types?
I do strength training for all body types. The exercise choice becomes different. Just like everybody can have a facial, but the treatment is going to be different. So I just think everybody should be doing strength training. It's just, I have to get my hands on someone to know specifically what exercises. And, I'm around all these next couple days, so if you want to just pull me off to the corner, we can talk.
Sure, thank you.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for all your really good questions. Hopefully you enjoyed that, and I hope I didn't talk too long. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much to Valerie Waters. Wasn't that fantastic? And for those of you here who are staying on Monday, she's going to be doing full body assessments in this room. So we will get to work on with her one-on-one, which is going to be such a great thing to do. We are breaking now. We have coffee and tea and iced tea back in our room.